Welcome to another T-Rex Talk. We're going to be talking about Black Friday today because the Black Friday sale is imminent. In fact, if this episode goes up on Tuesday, which means that it's late, we're actually going to start the Black Friday sale early for subscribers to the T-Rex newsletter this very evening, late at night Tuesday, just so we can make sure that we get all of Wednesday covered. The Black Friday sale will officially begin on T-Rex Arms for newsletter subscribers only, and then it'll start for everybody else on Friday. So if you're listening to this podcast and not a T-Rex newsletter subscriber, well, that's probably not describing too many people, but you should go and subscribe to the newsletter if you plan on partaking of the Black Friday sale discounts, which are not going to be completely store-wide, but they are going to be pretty wide. Most things are going to get some level of discount, and you'll just have to check early Wednesday morning to see what those are if you are a subscriber, and then early Friday morning if you are not. So Black Friday is a pretty big deal for T-Rex Arms as a company. It's one of the few events that really does affect every single department. We have big projects like launching new sidecars, launching iron sides that affect most departments, but nothing is quite as far-reaching as the Black Friday sale. And the reason for that is that we just do a whole bunch of volume over that weekend. Obviously, this is kind of the purpose of Black Friday sales. For those of you that don't know, Black Friday was invented by retailers who spent almost all of their time, a lot of times actually running their businesses in the red throughout the entire year. And it wasn't until the end of the year that they would run a massive sale to get themselves back in the black. Now, fortunately, that is not the T-Rex Arms model. Because T-Rex Arms is a debt-free company, we can't really run in the red. So we have a slightly different financial strategy, but we do run a large Black Friday sale at the end of the year for a number of reasons. The main one is that it is expected that there are people who do financial planning towards the end of the year to take advantage of Black Friday sales, and we would like to reward people who do prudent financial planning. It's also an interesting opportunity to find new customers because there are people who plan on Black Friday sales and then search for companies that are running sales. And so we have noticed that we pick up some new customers during Black Friday. And the other reason is that since we are a debt-free company and we're buying all of our merchandise and inventory and stuff with cash, the IRS doesn't actually let us count those things as business expenses until after we sell them. So we like to not have a whole bunch of merchandise on the shelf at the end of the year because the IRS says that that is actually money that we need to pay taxes on. The IRS is, of course, very inconsistent because they won't let us pay those taxes with the merchandise that is sitting on the shelf. So it's money when they calculate it as tax. It's not money if we wanted to, pay our tax bill with it. FYI, I am not a tax attorney. This is not legal advice. This is not tax advice. This is just something I'm saying on a podcast. Disclaimer over. So the really high sales volume that we have at the end of the year is a really helpful thing for a whole lot of different reasons. But we also want to try to gauge it properly. We don't actually want to sell out of everything. We do want to make sure that we have stuff that we can sell to people in January for the people that want to buy stuff in January. And with T-Rex, there is an added wrinkle. For most retail operations, it is pretty easy for them to work around the really high volume of sales that they have towards the end of the year in Q4 by kind of planning their time and structuring. And I don't want to make our warehouse department's job seem easy during Black Friday by any means. But I'm sure that everyone agrees that the extra wrinkle that T-Rex has is that we are also a manufacturer. It is one thing to sell way more product than usual. Make sure that you have it on your shelves. Make sure that you have enough packaging material. Make sure that you have enough labor. Make sure that you have enough shipping capacity with extra rented trucks to move that stuff to the post office or UPS depot or wherever. That is logistics that is difficult, that is painful, but it's fairly easy to flex around. If, however, you are a manufacturer and you're actually going to sell a super high volume of holsters that you want to have made before Christmas, that's a little bit less forgiving. Because we manufacture all of our holsters to order, there's very few things that we can pre-stage. Now, there are a few. Mars carriers and the sidecar mag carriers and various other sidecar attachments, but that's it. We don't pre-stage any of the holsters themselves, and we don't pre-stage any of the ironside carriers. All of that stuff is going to be made to order. So when we get 3, 4, 10 times as many holster orders in a day, we are not prepared to make 10 times as many holsters in a day. There's no way that we can flex to that. A lot of the holster manufacturing work is skilled labor. It's not something that you can go and get temps for. And so everybody in the company really gathers around during Black Friday to take as much of this load on themselves as they can. So that means that there will be people in the holster dev department who will help make holsters. There'll be a lot of people flowing around the company. There will be people moving over to customer service to help with ticket volume. There will be people heading over to picking areas and the shipping areas to do stuff over there. And as the years have gone on and we've learned a little bit more about this business, we have learned how to do some of these logistical things a little bit better, and even a little better at projecting what we might do in sales. That being said, this year is a pretty big question mark. It feels like the end of 2022. A lot of people haven't decided yet whether we're going to have a recession, whether we are having a recession. So I'm actually very unsure as what sales are going to be. We have projected a couple of different options, but there's a huge spread between those. So we're all very curious to see what actually happens at the end of this week. At the same time, though, I want us to remember that this week is also Thanksgiving, and I don't want Black Friday to completely overshadow what I think is one of our best holidays. There's the historical element of the pilgrims in Plymouth Plantation giving thanks to the Lord for the tremendous blessings that he had given them, even as they were undergoing an incredibly difficult time. And I think that that is incredibly important. But I also think that the need for us to stop to give thanks to the Lord is extremely important. So the temptation for us at T-Rex is to be very much focused on the Black Friday sale itself, all the things that go into that. There's just so many different moving pieces, making sure that customer service is ready, making sure that the website has been tested, making sure that we do have all the raw materials for everything that we need, backups for this, extra things for here, plans for who is going to flex, plans for overtime. It's really easy for us to miss the fact that Thursday is Thanksgiving and that we're going to try to disengage from some of our logistical responsibilities at T-Rex, spend time with our families, and thank the Lord for the blessings of the year. And that is something that I want to encourage you guys to do. So, homework assignment. I'm not sure when I started giving homework assignments in these podcasts. I'm not entirely sure whether I like it, but I do like this one here. Homework assignment: be thankful for the things that God has given you this year. Be grateful for those things. And I'm not just talking about purely those good and obvious blessings. Be thankful for the trials and the difficulties that are making you a stronger person. Be thankful for the opportunities that you have to minister to others, even as difficult as that might be or might have been. But also recognize that you are the recipient of tremendous blessings. I really enjoy reading history, learning from history, and occasionally I come to the conclusion that modern times are uncertain and difficult in ways that I don't really appreciate. And yet we have a lot of blessings that are really easy to just overlook. I was talking to my kids about this on Sunday as we were driving to church. We were talking about how different it would be to go to church 150 years ago. We would have had to hitch horses up to a wagon. We would have had to go very, very slowly over much inferior roads, through the rain and the cold. But as it was, we were going 50, 60 miles an hour on a very good road in a van that has complete climate control, is waterproof, has an excellent suspension. I was drinking piping hot coffee with fresh cream in it, all sorts of things that would have been not just impossible for regular people to have at their disposal, but even the richest and most powerful kings 150 years ago would not have had some of the amenities that we did inside of our minivan on the way to church on a cold and rainy Sunday morning. And of course, I'm not suggesting that all technological improvements and advances are completely good. Every tool is a double-edged sword that can be used for good or for evil. All technologies have both of these sides, opportunities for use and for misuse. There are incredible downsides to the way that a lot of modern technologies are being used today. And yet, there are some tremendous benefits to technologies that you have access to right now that 10, 15, 20, 100 years ago, those benefits just did not exist. Those opportunities did not exist. And so I want to be thankful for those things. The fact that we have refrigerators to put our Thanksgiving leftovers in so we can eat them again later, that is not a small thing. That is not a thing that all of humanity has had at its disposal for thousands of years. Even the fact that T-Rex exists and is able to run a Black Friday sale right now in the year 2022 is no small feat. It requires a huge amount of technological tools that are fairly new. The ability that you have to listen to this podcast, wherever it is that you're listening to it, is something that we shouldn't take for granted, even though it's not the greatest podcast. We'll be honest about that. So this Thanksgiving, really spend some time considering all of the tremendous benefits and blessings that you are experiencing, even if you just limit them to that day. But even if you look back over the year, no matter how difficult or uncertain of a year it has been, the blessings that you have experienced are many. And thankfulness and gratitude for God is a really important thing to cultivate at this time. Even in the midst of distractions like the T-Rex Arms Black Friday sale. Trust me, it's a lot more distracting for me than it probably is for you, unless you're some of the warehouse or production people listening to this podcast. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I just want to say that I am thankful for all of you. I'm thankful to those of you listening to this podcast. I'm thankful for all of the people who are going to be working in the shop to make Black Friday possible, to get all of those orders out. And I'm tremendously grateful to all of the customers, people who have trusted us enough to buy our products, trusted our judgment enough to buy other people's products that we have carried and supported. Trusted us enough that they really expect us to be able to get their Black Friday orders out in a relatively expedient manner. We are going to endeavor to be worthy of that trust, but we are tremendously grateful for your business and just being a part of the T-Rex mission. We appreciate you guys immensely. I hope you guys have a fantastic Thanksgiving week. And if there are things that you're planning to buy, we hope they're on sale for you. And that we can keep them in stock. And that we can ship them out quickly. And that the postal service works properly. Etc. Happy Thanksgiving.